Hello and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, you'll learn how to insert new rows into a database table using the insert command. Sometimes when you create a new table in a database, it is bare, it doesn't have any data. In order to add data, you need to use the Postgres insert statement to insert data or rows of data into the table. A typical syntax to insert data or rows into a table is like this. You begin with the insert into clause followed by the name of the table, and then in parentheses you specify the column names. If the table has got 2 columns, you specify the 2 columns, and then you add the values. The values basically is where you specify the data you're trying to insert, and the values must match the column and also in the order. So these are the columns you want to insert data or row into. You specify that first, and then in the values you have to separate each of the values by a comma. The value list must be in the same order as the column list specified after the table name, which is this one. So if I've got column 1, which is an integer, column 2, which is a string, in the value list it must correspond or must match, must be in the same order. I can't have a data type here of integer and then here I have a data type of string. It will not work. So the format, the column names and the values you enter must match. If this is an integer, the value I'm entering here must reflect that, and so on. When you're inserting or adding rows to a table, you can add 1 row at a time, or you can insert multiple values. So let's see how this works. So I've logged into my PG4 admin tool. I'm going to expand the databases. I've got 3 databases here. The database I'm going to use is the fruits database. And if I go to the schema here, within the schema I've got a public schema, and then I've got the tables. This database has got 2 tables, oranges and berries. So I want to insert some rows, some data into the berries table. So what I can do, I'll right click where it's got berries, and then I'll click on the query tool. Okay, I can either do that, or if I want to save time, I can go to scripts and click on insert script. So that will add some of the script for me. All I need to do is make some modifications. So by doing it by the script option, it saves me a bit of time. So it has kindly done the insert for me, so I don't need to add that again. It's also added the public, which is the name of the schema, and then it's added the name of the table, which is berries. So the dot separates the table name from the schema name. And you can see the parentheses here, that's the opening parentheses, and this is the closing parentheses. And you see it's identified the name of my columns. Berry underscore ID is put that in there for me, and berry underscore name is put that in for me. It can't do the values because it doesn't know what values I'm trying to add. So you notice that each of the values have been separated by a comma. So all I need to do, I know that berry ID is an integer, so it must take a number. So I'll put number 1 there. If I put anything other than a number, it will not work because I'm trying to enter the wrong data type into a column that does not accept a non-integer data type. And in here, if I do the same, if I enter an integer, it will complain. So what I need to do is enter the correct data type. So I'm going to type in strawberry. And do that. Because it's a string, I need to enclose the values in quotes. And then you end that with a semicolon. Now let me execute, and hopefully it should insert the record. If I click on this here, the execute option, and we should see it says query returned successful. So query returned, so it has inserted. So let's quickly check by typing in a quick select statement. So I do select star from berries. Berries is the name of the table, and I execute. Ooh, doesn't like it. Error, duplicate key. Alright, that's worked. The reason I had an error is that because I didn't select this and I was trying to run the query, what it's trying to do was trying to run both queries. It was trying to run this and it was trying to run this. So it was erroring because it thinks I'm trying to add the same data I've already added. So when you have multiple scripts in the editor and you want to execute only a particular one, it's probably best to just highlight that one so the editor doesn't get confused. So as you can see now, I've got a record in our table called berries. That's the ID, that's the name. In some databases, you can set the primary key, or this column here, an ID column, you can set that to auto increase. What that means that you can set up what is known as a sequence. So each time you add a record, it automatically, increases. You don't have to manually add this column. It will auto increase for you. All right, we've learned how to insert a single record, which is what I've done here. So now we're going to insert multiple records. So again, the query is the same. The only difference here is that I've added this to, I'm inserting multiple records. So the values has to match the columns. So I've got berry ID, which is an integer column. So this is the values for that. So I add the berry ID will be this, and the berry name will be that. The second value will be 3, and this will be blueberry. I just need to change the name. I didn't change that. I just changed that to blackberries, and I'll change this to raspberries. Okay, so now if I execute this, I just highlight it. It should insert 3 extra records. Tells you there. Okay, so now I've got 3 extra records inserted. I come here, I run this select statement, I highlight it and click. You can see these are all the records. Now you can see this 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's how you insert records or data into a table. Notice that in production live databases where you have an integer column, normally that is auto populated with a sequence. So you don't necessarily have to manually add this column here. You just add a sequence and the sequence will auto insert the next value for you. So that is it for this lecture on inserting records into a table. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.